011 Dynamic has been an extremely popular case the last few years. I did a build in the Lian Li 011 Dynamic mini version. Is this worth it over the larger versions? Is it a good case? I'm going to take you guys through some of the build decisions, thermals, and what I think of the case, so stay tuned. Hey guys, Tiago with Classical Technology here. Remember to hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm, makes me happy, and subscribe if you like content like this. So the Lian Li Dynamic has been an extremely popular series of cases now. Everybody's done builds in them, it seems, especially the regular size Lian Li Dynamic, and for good reason. It's a pretty awesome case. Not only aesthetically is it different than the traditional towers that we've seen with glass on the front, glass on the side, it also has really good performance. It's a pleasure to build in, and it has tons of features that the enthusiasts can really enjoy when they're building their case. Initially, it was just the 011 Dynamic, sort of the regular size, and of course that had a few limitations if you wanted to do a lot of overkill builds in them or do a lot of different things like that. And Lian Li sort of answered with the XL version. That remains to be one of my favorite PC cases. You can fit a serious amount of water cooling in there, radiators, water distribution blocks, as well as many fans and hardware that you can really fit. And the performance all has proved to be really nice. Build quality was exceptional, and the little details with cable management and how the case is put together was definitely very nice to see. Recently, I've been a little bit more interested in sort of smaller and smaller mini ITX type enclosures. So when I heard Lian Li had a mini version, I definitely had to take a look. So the first thing we're going to talk about here is the size. Now, don't get it wrong, even though it says mini, it's still a fairly large case in terms of being a mini ITX. It's definitely not really what I would consider a small form factor case. Maybe those would be under 20 liters or something like that, like a Cooler Master NR200P. It's definitely not that. It's still a pretty large case. It's probably closer in size to the regular size Lian Li Dynamic, just slightly being a little bit smaller, but in my opinion, it's still a pretty great size. It's not large by any means, and a smaller size compared to the regular version means that it may fit on some people's desks a little bit more without blocking views. It's just going to be a little bit more manageable. I think it's pretty much the perfect size for this. If they made it really any smaller, then you start to compromise with some of the performance and some of the hardware that you can fit inside. So now pretty much you have a pick of the three different sizes. If you know that you want to do a big water cooling loop, go for the XL. You're going to be able to fit thick radiators. I have a 54 millimeter radiator on the bottom. I have a thick radiator on the top. You're going to be able to fit a lot of hardware, and the build quality on the XL definitely is going to be the best out of the three. The choice is going to be a little bit trickier if you're building more of like a standard system with an ATX motherboard. Let's say you don't want to do overkill water cooling, but you want to do ATX, then you could either choose the regular size Lian Li Dynamic, or if you think you can fit your hardware in the mini, it's definitely nicer to have something that's a little bit smaller. So what about the actual components that you can fit in the mini version? Now, it's certainly going to be important for you guys to educate yourselves onto the exact hardware that you're going to be able to fit in this, because there could be a pretty big difference even from the regular size Dynamic. Now, the number one thing, the power supply. This does not take a regular size ATX power supply. So that means if you have something like an EVGA G3, 850 watt power supply, it's not going to work in here. It's basically only going to take small form factor power supplies like the Corsair 750 watt platinum power supply that's very popular amongst many ITX builds, and as well as the different Silverstone power supplies. Now in my build, I've actually used an 800 watt Silverstone titanium power supply. I picked this up on Amazon. It was around $219, and this one is a little bit bigger than something like the Corsair 750 watt small form factor power supply. This is what they call the SFX L. So that means it's going to be a little bit longer, but in a case like the Lian Li Dynamic Mini, you certainly have a little bit more room than in a small case like an NR200P, which technically you could, and I did try to put this power supply in there. It does fit, but then you're certainly going to be a little bit more limited by your cables and your GPU, since that case is considerably smaller than this one. And since this case has a lot of aesthetics elements going for it, I also picked up custom cables, also from Silverstone. They sell their own black custom cables. Certainly they look a lot nicer than the stock cables. If you're building in another small form factor computer that you're not really going to see the cabling too much, probably fine to use the stock cables. But here, since the Lee & Lee Dynamic definitely has these glass panels, I wanted to get these nicer cables just to make everything aesthetically better, and it also helps with cable management. They're a little easier to bend. Now, I think 800 watts is going to be the absolute sweet spot for a really high-end build in a case like this. I'm going to go through some of the component selection, which is going to include a 5900X, an RTX 3080, and in a second version of the build, I'm even doing an EVGA 3090 GPU. So the power consumption goes up as high as almost 650 watts when everything's really chugging along. So you could see that an 800 watt power supply is just enough to give you a nice little bit of headroom. And if you're going to put a 3090 in here with a powerful CPU, 800 watts really is the ideal that you want, so you have a little bit of headroom there and you're not completely maxing out your power supply. And then after the power supply, you'll have to decide what type of motherboard that you can fit in here. And you can pretty much fit any size motherboard in here. Of course, mini ITX, micro ATX, ATX is going to be the standard. And even though I didn't try one, maybe even eATX, I think you should have enough room. You may have a little bit of cabling issues depending on your build, but you may even be able to fit a big motherboard like that. So your motherboard selection is actually going to be fairly important because it's going to dictate the type of cooling that you can put in here. If you know that you want to do a custom loop with a lot of radiators, I would say go for mini ITX, because then you're going to have more clearance on the bottom, on the top, and of course you still have the side mounted radiator, but most importantly it's going to be the top, because if you put in a regular ATX motherboard, you're going to have a lot less room on the top. You're not going to be able to fit a 360 millimeter radiator up there with fans. So if you do ATX, pretty much you're going to have to do either the bottom or the side vertical mount for your AIO or for your your radiators. Now the way that I did it here, I do have an ATX motherboard in here just because I wanted something that's full size, and of course you can't put an AIO at the top, but I did use the EK 240mm AIO. That's going to be vertically mounted on the side, and it's pulling in fresh air from the side, so that makes airflow really great. Of course, you could probably put an AIO at the bottom, but I just feel like the bottom is better suited to have these fans blowing in cool air towards the GPU. That way you can, at least as much as you can, keep those airflow patterns a little bit separate, and the CPU is going to continue to pull in that cool air from the side. And of course, if you do MATX, you'll be able to fit a little bit more cooling, but as those aren't nearly as common, I would say the best two build options here: mini ITX if you want to fit in a lot of radiators or one on top, and ATX I think is going to be fine for most people. You can put a really nice radiator sort of vertically mounted on the side and have fans at the bottom for your GPU. And for the GPU, I do have the 3080 Founders Edition in here. I also tested this system. I may put it in a separate video, the EVGA 3090 for the Win 3 Ultra. Now both of these GPUs are going to work fairly nicely in here in terms of airflow. I have these really thick EK fans just blowing cool air from the bottom up top. That way the GPU is getting nice fresh air. Everything's being exhausted through the top and through the back. So airflow in this case I actually found to be fairly good. So the case can certainly support and fit pretty much any GPU that you want to throw at it. The For the Win 3 is an absolutely massive GPU. So if it can fit this, you'll be able to fit pretty much anything that you want in here. And of course, even with a big GPU like this, you have more than enough room for fans at the bottom. In fact, I could even fit in a water cooling radiator at the bottom with these thick fans. That's how much room that you have. These fans, of course, are much thicker than normal. And of course, you can also fit a fan at the rear of the case. If you guys remember the regular size Lee & Lee Dynamic, you were never able to fit a 120mm fan in that slot. So that always kept airflow sort of exhausting out the back. A lot of people like to do that. It kept you a little bit limited, but in this case, not only can you fit 3 fans on the bottom, you could also do it towards the back. Now, even if you don't have an AIO on top, you can fit fans. In this case, I put about 2 fans just because if I did 3, one of them was going to interfere with the motherboard that I have here. Some motherboards may be a little bit different. You may be able to fit it a little bit better, but I think 2 is more than enough to have on the roof of the case, sort of exhausting air out, considering of course you have that one on the rear as well. So that way you keep the airflow in the case at an optimum level. Even when playing a game like Cyberpunk, the system is really fairly quiet. The airflow, as long as you have your fan curves and everything optimized, it really does a fairly good job at pushing that fresh air through the GPU, through the top, the CPU coming out the side. Of course, this is a 5900X, which is a very high performing gaming as well as workstation CPU as well. That's why I have this Vision B550D motherboard from Gigabyte. This is really sort of more of a workstation motherboard. I chose it specifically here because it does have Thunderbolt, and for me that's something that I use, but of course you can use any motherboard that you want. I may actually replace this one for a more gaming focused motherboard, maybe something like an X570 Hero. Definitely will do a build in the future with that, as well as have that 3090 in here as well. So you guys see some of the insane hardware that this case can easily manage with its airflow. So to summarize, the case definitely does a pretty good job at sort of suppressing any really loud noises. And of course, it's not going to be the best airflow case on the market by any means, but the airflow at least is pretty good, especially with a 3090 that definitely has a lot of heat, draws a lot of power. The only way I think it could be better is if instead of having like, a front glass panel, if that was mesh or something like that, like in some cases. But overall, considering sort of the design aesthetic and the tempered glass that you have, I think it's a pretty good compromise to have the system be this small, look the way that it does, while maintaining very respectable airflow. In terms of the overall build quality and building experience, I still think it's exceptional. Of course, the build quality is a notch below something like the extra large version, but it's not too far off from the regular size version. Maybe some of the edges are a little bit more hard, a little bit more jagged, so you can hurt your finger a little more when you're building in it. But overall, the panels are really easy to remove. You pop the glass up just like you do on all of the other versions, and the back, you have ample amount of space for cable management. Even considering the fact that you're using a small form factor power supply, that doesn't take away from the amount of room you have in there. You can put, fan controllers or maybe RGB fan hubs or something. You certainly have a decent amount of room. Wire routing was really, really nice. It's easy to get everything in, everything through. Everything is really laid out. I love sort of this dual design with the power supply towards the back. In a lot of smaller cases, when the power supply is in the same sort of enclosure, especially in a small sort of case as the rest of the components, a lot of times, the GPU can start to heat up the CPU. That can start to heat up your power supply. It just means your system's going to be noisier. The components are going to be less efficient. So having the power supply in a separate compartment, I think it's a really good way to do things, not only for the aesthetics so it looks nicer, but also for performance, thermals, as well as noise levels. It keeps everything much lower than if everything was bundled together in one space. Now, do I have any complaints about the case or anything that I think could improve? Well, for a price of $99, I think it's pretty fair for what you're getting here. The only real complaint that I would have, it would have been nice if you could have fit a 360mm AIO when using an ATX motherboard. As it stands now, you're definitely going to be limited a little bit. You're going to have to put like a 240 on the side or something else, unless you go with mini ITX, and then you don't have as many issues. You can put whatever AIO that you want on top. So that's really the only caveat. But this way, a 240mm AIO was actually more than enough to cool the 5900X. Maybe another thing that they can improve as well, the edges of the case, like where the metal meets the metal and where the glass goes, definitely very, very sharp. I could see if somebody bumps into it, you can easily cut yourself. It seems significantly sharper than something like on the XL version. So I think maybe they could improve sort of those connection points a little bit, just so when you're handling the case, it's a little bit better. But overall, it's certainly a fantastic case. Just make sure to have the build in mind that you want to do in it. That way you're going to be able to prepare the power supply you're going to put in, as well as your cooling method, your AIO, so that your hardware will fit. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more videos on this case. I plan to do some different variations of it. Definitely a case that I plan to keep around and use frequently. So remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.